An SABC News presentation.
Good morning and welcome to A View from the House, coming to you live from the SABC Parliamentary Studios in Cape Town. My name is Mkokeli Tanda. In today's program, we talk to the Minister of Public Works about the challenges he faces in turning this huge and important state department around. We look at question to Health Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi about the reduction of maternal and baby deaths at state hospitals. And we have a question to the Ministry of Human Settlements about private sector involvement in reducing the backlog in low-cost housing. The Department of Public Works has gone through difficult times lately. The Auditor General is not impressed with its financial management. The Public Protector investigation into a deal to lease buildings for the police services claimed the head of its former minister, and the Portfolio Committee on Public Works is equally unhappy with the department's performance. And yet, government expects a lot from this department with regard to job creation and infrastructure development. The Minister of Public Works, Mr. Thulas Nxesi, is fairly new to the job, but it's now his task to turn the department around. Mr. Nxesi is joining us now to talk to us about his plans for the department. Good morning, sir, and welcome to our program.
Morning, Mkokeli.
Minister, just to get some perspective of this department, can you tell us very briefly what the key responsibilities of this department are? Is it simply taking care of state assets and providing buildings for state departments, or is there more to it?
Thank you, Mkokeli. It's good that you are asking this question so that we clarify the public. First of all, we are there to provide the office, to provide the functional and the residential accommodation to the national departments and even to the political office bearers. And secondly, as a department, we are there to transform the property and the construction industry, and in particular to deal with the skills or the shortage of the skills in what you call the technical areas. When you talk engineers, when you talk architects and so on, that's where they are regulated in that particular department. Thirdly, in an effort to fight poverty and unemployment, we are facilitating and coordinating the expanded public works programs so that we can be able then to deal with what I would call the social infrastructure, which is needed, the schools which are needed, and even the clinics. And lastly, you will realize that there has been the infrastructural development as pronounced by the president in his State of the Nation. We are central to that particular process in ensuring that on the social infrastructure, we are not found wanting. So we are clarifying that we must not be just as a department of tenders.
Yes, Minister. The department has recently gone through deep waters. Last year, it could not account for more than 2.1 billion rands worth of goods, services, and capital expenditure. You said recently at the Portfolio Committee that the department was technically under administration. How are you dealing with that situation?
Kokeli, sometimes there is what I would call an exaggeration, but you are correct that this department has been in problems, and you would remember that it did not start only last year. Over the past period of 8 years, we have been having the problems according to the reports of the Auditor General. So this department has been getting, for a period of 8 years, qualified report, except in 1 year, 2006, and now it's seated with a disclaimer. And my approach is very simple. I could have just pretended as if there's nothing, all is well, but I was going to be caught up very soon. I've decided to say, here are the problems, let's deal with those problems. That is why we are seeking support from those who have walked through this particular path. Those who were like us some few years back, Home Affairs, Treasury, you'd remember what was going on with SARS. And then we're mobilizing all those skills to help us so that we're able to be like them and be able to deliver on our mandate.
Asking for assistance from other departments to get your feet on the ground. When will you be able to walk on your own, Minister?
You must remember that this is a process. in order to be able to answer this question properly, there are two processes which you are involved in. The first one is what I normally call the quick stabilization, which means you must quickly deal with the asset register, you must deal with the audit findings, you must be able to deal with the issues of property in the department. However, if we are talking about the second process, which is a turnaround strategy, the turnaround must be able to look at, do we have a shared vision? Do we have a clear mission, the strategy to deal with that? But also, we must be able to say, do we have the right skills? Do we have the right staff? Do we have the right style of the management? That's a turnaround. That's why we are consulting already with all the stakeholders, including the unions and all the staff members. But what is very clear, we are saying, in that process, there are negotiables and non-negotiables.
And what are the non-negotiables?
For us, the non-negotiables for the workers to be on task, to be on time, to be professionally behaved, those are non-negotiables. I am also not going to negotiate fraud and corruption. Those who are found to be involved will have to face the music.
Talking about fraud, you have not been long at the helm of this department, but what is your assessment of fraud and corruption at Public Works?
No. Clearly, there are reports from the Public Protector, there are reports from the Auditor General and even from the SIU, which are indicating that some elements, and it's not the majority of the workers, it's a few elements who are rotten apples there who are implicated, and those people have been taken to the due processes, and some might even be more implicated. We might have to have criminal charges against them. So there are a few elements who are rotten and trying to influence, and who have more demoralized the majority of the staff members.
You have ordered a review of about 3,800 leases worth more than 3 billion rands a year signed by your department on behalf of other departments. How will this review be executed?
What we need to do is we need expertise. We're not going to go out for each and everything and try and look for the service providers from outside. We are utilizing the Treasury because they do have people with the expertise who are going to sit together with our teams, form joint teams, and where necessary, they might appeal to an outside skill and start looking at each and everyone so that we are able to get the value for money. We are able to find what is regular, what is irregular. And then if we find some of those which are irregular, it's very clear we'll move towards cancelling them. Like we have already started with the big one, which we say we will fight it in court, that is irregular.
You said you want to go to the root of corruption in your department. Can we expect more heads to roll when more corruption and fraud has been uncovered?
We won't flinch. If there is corruption, we are non-negotiable on that, and fraud. And I think the ruling party, which I'm coming from, the government of South Africa, and all political parties, the trade union movement in this country, the civil society are very clear when it comes to corruption that it must be taken head on.
One of the core business of your department is job creation, the expanded public works program. What is the situation at this point in time? How many people now have jobs in terms of this program?
We are doing very well in terms of our targets. For this year, we've gone close to 2 million in terms of the work opportunities which we have created, which is within our targets. And up to 2014, we're talking about 4.5 million. And we think that we'll be able to make that. But we're talking about work opportunities. When you turn them to the full-time equivalent, there will be about 1 million jobs. So we are still doing very well in terms of that. However, we need to jack that up. And we need to make sure that we expand that program even more, especially in the rural areas.
Minister of Public Works, Thulas Nxesi, thank you very much for coming through, sir. We hope to talk to you soon after your budget.
Thank you, Mkoke.
After the break, we hear what the Minister of Health and his department is doing to reduce maternal and infant mortality in South African hospitals. Stay with us.